Hey, so this is my devlog for day one of 72 Pin Jam taking place this weekend. Um, Started last night technically. I didn't really get to work on it until this morning, but I put in a bunch of hours today, so I'm going to sort of go over where my code is and show what's happening in the game so far, sort of talk about what I still want to hit, and yeah, I've got 2 days left, so this is day one of three. So let's see. I'm just going to go through the code real quick. Init from the top, pretty boring. Defines the player, nothing interesting. The first interesting bit of code is probably that you get 3 jumps here, which are a limited resource, put some strain on the player throughout the thing. We see here I start loading up different obstacles. Load level gets us actually into the game once we start, and it can be called repeatedly in order to either restart a level when you die or start a new level once you finish the old one, depending on if you actually finish it or not. Basically resets the player to the top, clears all the obstacles, resets everything, and finds the new obstacles for a new level. Calls make walls, which is the next function. Basically actually goes through the obstacle list, scans the whole screen row by row by row, looks for certain sprites, knows that those sprites are obstacles, puts them in a list for me. Gives them a little bit of stuff. These are 2 different kinds, just general stationary spikes and horizontal bars, which specifically have a y velocity since they're going to sort of oscillate that way. Let's see, what's we got? Fall, gravity, useful. Jumping, it's not too complicated. It's not a particularly interesting jumping mechanic. There's no I might add this in, but right now there's no oh yeah, hold the button longer to jump higher. None of that kind of stuff. What you get is 3 jumps, and they have to recharge. So that's what this jump time thing is. If your timer is filled up, that means you have the jump ready. Sets the timer to 0 for that jump. Only uses the first one if that's available. Checks each sequential one to see if there's one available. If there's not, sucks. Yeah, that's right. Player.dy is equals jump pow is the actual jumping happening. And by cycling through the sprites here, we can change the color of the player, show how many jumps you have left. They recharge over time. Each iteration of, each frame, jump time increases by 1 until it's full again, at which point you get the jump back functionally above, and your sprite changes color to show that. Down here we start our collisions. Absolute boxes just gets each object has a box defined starting at 0, 0, right? This just transfers it based on the position down to wherever the actual object is on the screen. Check for collisions. It's really basic. I spent too many hours trying to do more complicated collisions today. I wasn't working super great because I have not practiced advanced collision stuff from scratch enough. So here we are with just basic, is it touching this other box, which I'm making do with. It's fine. It's turning into an interesting game anyway. Check walls, just checks different lists of obstacles to see if you've touched them. Right now, all it does is load the level from the start if you have. I'm sure I will add in death animations and that kind of stuff. Otherwise, arrow key movement, again, super basic. If you're pressing right or left, you go right or left at a set speed. If you are not pressing anything, or if you're pressing both things, you just stop dead in your tracks, horizontally at least. Move bars right now just moves horizontal bars, which are the only kind I've used so far, and just the sine function means that they oscillate up and down. End level, this happens specifically when not when you hit the bottom. So I don't remember when I actually call this. I probably call this an update somewhere, which is not ideal, and I should adjust it. But when you hit the bottom, it figures out where you left off so that you start in the right spot on the next level, increments the level by 1, loads the next one, no big deal. Phase, this is the hook of the game, right? Just like basic platform, obstacle dodging, whatever. This is where I'm trying to make it something interesting and different. You have 2 action buttons, jump, and then X is your phase button. And basically what that does is toggles whether or not the player sprite has phase active. And I call it that because when you phase out, you freeze in place completely, but you're also invulnerable. So you can't move at all. No gravity, no controls, nothing. But your collision detection goes off, basically, which means that if an obstacle hits you, a bullet or a spike or whatever, it passes right through you. No big deal. It's like you're not even there. And then when you phase back in, you maintain your momentum. So if you're falling super fast and you phase, that momentum stays with you when you phase back, so you will instantly drop like very quickly again. Update runs the game, about 30 of these per second. Timer checks if you phase. If you have not phased out, it does all of the like normal things. The obstacles move whether you're phased or not. Update your position. Here we go. This is not the ideal spot for this, honestly. But if you get to the bottom of the screen, you load the next level. Cool. Great. Draw just updates everything. Also, this is a timer that is printing in the top left corner in minutes and seconds. So hopefully we can keep track of time since the theme is speedrunning. And I think with that, I'm going to run it from, I think I'm on level 1. Let's double check that. And it looks like, yes, running from level 1. Okay, there we go. Maybe. Come on, there we go. All right, down you go. Yeah, just to show, right now, if you hit a spike wherever, you just start at the top again, wherever you loaded in before. And you're just jumping on that last screen, practice a little bit here. And then this is where you learn that there's a limit to how much you can jump, because if you try and jump in your orange, no dice. And just pop down here, and this is where we learn to phase. I lost a negative somewhere. That bar was moving up from where it was before. I don't know what the difference is. That's okay, I'll beat the level anyway. But you see how I fell very quickly when I finished phasing there, because all of my gravitational energy was still maintained. This is where it goes as it goes right now. You just sort of end up in this black void. The timer keeps going. There will be a last level. Let's see. Things I want to hit still. Better art assets, obviously. There's not a lot happening there right now. I don't know that it'll be too much more complicated, but I would like to get, you know, backgrounds and some variation in the objects and like maybe change up the character sprite a little bit somehow, even though it's a small rectangle, and it might honestly stay a small rectangle just for the sake of like, I don't know, working, because if I mess with it too much, I have to change its collision box, and God only knows what'll happen if I do that, since I spent enough hours fucking around with it today. Sound, obviously I want to add music. I've got, let's see, if I just like whipped up basic little phase in out sounds that you can hear. That'll be phase out, I think, and phase back in, I think. for how those are going to go. Those are just like different views of the same thing. Yeah, that's sort of where I'm leaving it for today. Spreadsheet is not exactly complicated so far. Background, instructions, character sprite that's phased in, dead, phased out, and obstacle stuff. There's the vertical bar that's going to get used eventually. Yeah, I don't know. I have some different level mechanic ideas that I want to try and implement before we're done. I really do think I'm going to try and get interesting levels in before I get interesting design and music. Level design is the thing that I have more like knowledge and skill in than music and visual design. But yeah, there'll at least be sound effects. I honestly, if I can't get a background song that isn't just incredibly annoying to hear over and over again, I just won't use one. That's fine. But yeah, that's what I got so far, and I'm pretty happy with it. It was a decent number of hours of work today, so but I don't know. That's what 225 lines of code, so could be much worse. Yeah, I don't know. That's day one. I will have another update tomorrow night. Don't expect as much because I'm playing D&D for like 5 hours, but that's okay. See ya.